Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go through lab number 1 for Biostatistics 601. Welcome to my house home office. The toddler's back there doing her own thing. Hopefully she won't interrupt us much, but I'm just going to show you here. I'm going to get away from I fed the fishes. I don't know why it's still asking me to do it. I'm going to show you how to do this in Markdown. And Markdown is it's a really good way to use R Studio to make a report. And so you're going to go here, you're going to create an R Markdown, and it's going to ask you for a title, the author, and the output. And you can start with HTML. Later on, you can make it a PDF or even a Word document. So let's just say here, and what it does is when you hit the knit here, it's called knitting. So like you knit, and it's going to ask you a place to save it. I'm just going to put it in my downloads folder. I'm just going to save it and knit it together. You see it over here in the bottom left. Knit it together, and it's going to show it to you as an HTML. From here, you can save this and then publish it as a PDF or a Word document. So what I'm going to do for lab number 1, I'm going to get rid of that. For lab number 1, I'm going to go ahead and title it GCH 601, enter the biostatistics, my name, the date. I'm going to make it a PDF document here or an HTML document, as you can see here in these two lines. So here's the first code chunk. They're called chunks of code. This one is the setup. And then my first section, BFRSS, so I'm going to go here, section 1, BFRSS, and then I'm going to type in the source. To make the code chunks here, so if I wanted to just make another code chunk, I would go here to insert. It's going to be an R, obviously, and then I just type, my code. So something very simple. Y is 4 plus 3, and then just show me why. And so what it's going to do, you'll see here in a second, what it's going to do, this code chunk has options here with a little wheel there, and I can either show the output only and not show the code and the output, which is what I want you to do for the labs, or show nothing and just run the code, or show nothing and don't run the code, it just completely hides it. So I'm going to do show code and output, and apply. Notice how it says echo equals true. I can also give it a name. So I've been naming this section 1, question 1, but I can give it a name, and that way I can jump to that code right away by clicking on the bottom left there. So when I knit this, I'm going to knit it to HTML. It's going to do its thing. Give it a couple of seconds. Depending on how fast your computer is, it can run it really, really fast or not. So I'm going to make this area a little bit larger, just so you see what the output will look like. It's still working. And it's going to save it. And here it is. So remember how I have up here y equals 4 plus 3 and then print y? So it gives me the code, and then it gives me the output, 7. Okay. If I just want to show code without it being executed, then you do what I did here with view CDC. These are the on the top left under the tilde on your keyboard. There's these little kind of dash looking things. I really don't know what the name of them are, but you put 3 of them and then your code and then 3 of them, and all you get is the code. It doesn't get run. Or you can option it to, don't run the code and don't show anything. I did this for View CDC because this computer has some issues with viewing things. Another computer didn't, so I just left it out. And I'm just showing that I'm copying and pasting right after the code from the lab. Okay, so let's go ahead and go down scatter plot. Not only did I do the scatter plot, but I went one step further and I created a line to show me the relationship, and that's the code right here. Ab line, parentheses, LM, parentheses, weight in height, tilde height, data CDC, color equals blue, and you can see that it's over here as well. So I can also knit this when you're absolutely done. You know, you preview it as an HTML and you're ready to send it to me as a PDF. And then you can knit it into a PDF. And what it's going to do is going to use its own magic. And you might get an error. If you get an error, don't worry about it. It has to do with some of the additional software that might be required of your computer. If you're on Windows, usually no problems. Mac, you have to install a program called Xquartz, and you'll see an error telling you to do so. And to be absolutely, you only get the HTML. You don't have any other way. You can click on Show a New Window, and it'll open it. It'll open it in your browser, and then you can just print this as a PDF. Right? Print. It'll give you a preview. To my students, and I'll show it right there. You can just print this off as a PDF. Okay? No big deal. Okay, so it's still doing its thing, and it saved it. It's still, there it is. So it saved it, and now it's opening it as a PDF. And the neat thing is that you can add different types of formatting to the PDF, and it'll do it all for you. You can also knit it into a Word document, and then you can print that off as a PDF. Okay, so let's just go ahead and go down to the questions at the very end. And so here we have NHANES, right? So it's asking you to load the NHANES data first. So let's see what the code for that was. So we have BFRSS, gene transcription, NHANES, the national. The NHANES package. Okay. So on your console, I'm going to load library NHANES and run it. And it's already run. So then I'm going to create a new section here. It's going to be 2 hashtags. It's section 2, or not section 2, but section 3. Section 3 NHANES, right? And then 3 hashtags, question 1, right? So I'm going to add a code chunk, okay, and I'm going to name it NHANES Q1 echo equals true, so I can show both the code and the code and the output. Okay, so following questions will be exploring the NHANES data. At what age do Americans seem to reach the full height? So let's take a look at the height, and so let's plot NHANES. Let's see, let's make sure that it's in my environment. Okay. So let's load the data just like we did. Okay. And this doesn't help us, right? Because it's just telling us how many people were a certain height. The question is, at what age do Americans seem to reach adult height? And so I want to do NHANES. I want to do NHANES age and then height. And you can hit run here, and it'll show it to you before. It's still not very informative. Let's flip that around, right? Let's do it another way. So NHANES height on NHANES age. What does that look like? All right, so here we see that it's around a certain age. So if you want to put a line on there, like you want to just draw a line, you see what I did for here, an ab line. Well, you can go on Google, and you can actually Google how to add a line. And there's all this very informative stuff on how to add a line to your scatter plots, to your plots in general. So This was the error here that I was having earlier, and I had to install Xparts. So, R add a line to a plot. Okay. And I'm going to do an outline. I want to do a line on 15 here, so the example is outline V15 color blue. Okay, so outline V equals, what do you say, 18 color blue? And you have to run them together. There you go. So it doesn't quite seem to be at 18. I think it's a little bit younger than that, right? So let's do 15. Yeah, it seems to be 15 when you reach peak height, and then from there on there's no more growing. So I would say that at around age 15, Americans seem to reach full height. Okay, so then my answer would be here. Americans seem to reach full adult height at around age 15. Okay, now question 2. And then the next code chunk. And say enhance Q2. Q2, I can type, as you can see. Alright. And it's question 2. What proportion of Americans age 25 or older have a college degree? Alright, so education. So let's just look at a table, right? Table enhance education. Let's run that over here and see what. Okay, so I could probably answer the question just by doing this, right? College, some college, and college grads. But it's age 25 and older. Ooh. Okay, so then table enhance age. It's gonna show me all the ages. Yep. So I could actually go in here and like count 25 and just add them all. So instead of doing that craziness, how about we subset, right? So subset, and then I forget how to subset. So I'm gonna go to good old Google, and this is what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to go and be creative. Find those lines. Find the subsetting in R. I want you to find the answers as much as you can. You can always ask me if you're really stuck on something. Ask me, and we'll figure it out together. Okay. Okay. So let's see. Excluding, dropping, and selecting observations. All right. I think I'm gonna use subset function. Yep. New data, subset, enhance age greater than or equal to 25. Okay. Comma. Age greater than or equal to 25. All right. And now it's here, the subset is 6,571 up here on the subset. It's all people over the age of 25, and I can click on the blue so I can then see it here. This computer is old and taking some time, but you can see, let's see the youngest age sorted by age. The youngest age is 25, good, the subset worked. So now I go back to my code. And instead of enhance as my data set, it will be just subset. Okay. Is that enough? Sure, you can add this divided by the number 6571, and that's your answer. Okay, or you can get a little more creative, right? So subset H25 and education equals 2 equals for text some college or education 2 equals college grad. And because these two over here are in their own little world separated from age, I am going to use a parentheses and then I'm going to run it. And now it's only showing me some college and college grad, right? So now I can add these two and divide it by the total. Okay. But the total here, remember, it's the age, and so I could either subset and then subset again. Get creative, guys. That's all it is. And some of you were very creative in your answers, so that's good. And then the last question that I'm going to go through, and then I'm going to let you guys do the rest because I can't give you all the answers. Okay. Would be question 3. Oh, and yes, obviously, right? Once you come up with your answer, this is, of course, you have to write. It doesn't spell check for you. This is where you write your answer. And then question number 3, I'm going to do another code chunk of R. I can name it enhance 3 echo equals true. What is the relationship between education level and income? Same question as was asked over here, right? For height, for weight and height. So one of the cool things about having it all in code is that you don't have to remember how you pointed and clicked at things. You can just copy the code and modify as necessary. I'm going to plot enhance education level and income. Okay, education enhance income, household income. Okay, and then education, spelling is very important. Data equals enhance. So let's see what happens here. Some sort of an error. Using time numeric with a factor correspond. Okay, so we have a factor. So let's look real quick. Is income is a factor. So let's use mid. HH income mid. You cannot plot a factor. You have to plot integers. Oh, education. Okay. So we need to get creative, right? Education. We need to come up with some other plot. So let's see. If we just plot it by itself. Yep. There we go. Let's not get fancy with the line in this case. Let's just plot them as they are. And yeah, there are more people who are college grads who earn more, and less people who just have 8th grade who earn more. And you can see that relationship there. And then you just write your answer here. And when you're all done, you can knit it to an HTML, like I said. Let's kind of go through. You look at your HTML, make sure that that's what you want to turn into me. Okay, it's still running. Toddler's still playing with her little shower cap. Error. Okay, NHANES not found. That's because I need to put it in the code. Library NHANES. Let's try it again.
Daddy?
Yes, baby.
Why do you have everything from my office? But I need every new paper for my desk. Why did I want to pay more for the paper?
Okay, I'll get you some new paper.
Don't you again?
They're not new papers. Alright, still working, still working. Again, this will be faster if you have a faster computer. Alright, and then it's gonna give you the output. Okay, okay. Looks good. It looks like something I wanna turn in, maybe. Alright, and then you just go back and then you knit it to a PDF. You might be able to hear the fan on my computer, and it's going a little nuts. I used this to create the labs, to create the PowerPoints as well. You can create a PowerPoint presentation from this. You can use different templates that have the fonts already prepared for you and how everything is going to look. If you have questions about that, I can certainly go through that with you. Google is your friend to learn how to do that. It's called Markdown, and you can just create the files that way. R Markdown. And it's already created it, and it's going to save it for me. And it's going to pop it up here in a little bit. Hopefully. Just a couple seconds. Okay, so there it is. There's that, there's that, and there's that. And there's your answers, and it's nice and formatted. It's got the page numbers, everything you need. And then you just save this and you turn that in, okay? Or you can knit it to Word. Let's do that real quick while we're here, right? Knit to Word. It's going to go through it again. Feel free to fast forward to these parts. Okay, but you guys have turned in lab number 1 and lab number 2. So that's fine how you did it. Good job. I did comment on several of them that I wanted to see more graphics, more visualization of what you were telling me with words and numbers. That's fine. And then for labs number 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, try to use this. If this is still too complicated for you, go ahead and use Word and all of that, copy and paste. But I highly recommend that you use this. I highly recommend that you open Word before you do that, because then it's going to get hung up trying to open Word, create the document, etc. There it is. So notice how the formatting is done here. You can create a template and you save it as your template, and then you reference it in the Markdown as well, and it'll create everything. But you know, it works. It works for what you are trying to do. It creates the image files here that you can manipulate. If you want to just do your graphs in Markdown and then copy them over to a Word document, then later you're going to turn into a PDF. You can use it that way. Okay, everybody. So thank you. You're doing well so far. You're doing well on the quizzes. You're doing well on the labs. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. You're all paying money to learn all these things. I hope that you're learning them from the videos and from the textbook. And we'll get ready for the midterm here. I think I'm going to put out a video for that next weekend, showing you the things that you need to know. And then we'll go from there. All right. So thank you, everybody, and have a good night.